Earth. NASA says we go into space, which was basically a hoax. I have some unorthodox thoughts. Earth is flat.
500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat.
Sorry, Neil. Try me. See if I think I have no opinion on your bullshit sci-fi fantasies.
I have some unorthodox thoughts.
Sci-fi fantasies.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
Those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses.
And I'm astonished. I wonder, what country am I living in? It's not the one I grew up in. Am I living in? It's not the one I grew up in.
Am I living in? It's not the one I grew up in.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more. The pole, Earth rotates, and the pole bobs up and down over tens of thousands of years, and we oscillate like this, the way a top does. Top does. Top does.
Sci-fi fantasies.
Top does. Top does. Top
Sci-fi
does.
fantasies.
We're pleased to announce the discovery of Kepler 452b,
which was basically a hoax. Typically illiterate people of the world. Typically illiterate people of the world. Typically illiterate people of the world.
Sci-fi fantasies.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain. You feel it.
All the things that I used to believe, I can't even believe I believe them anymore. All the things that I used to believe, I can't even believe I believe them anymore.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
It's like I just stopped believing in Santa Claus recently.
Are you really somebody seeking the truth?
We've been fed a lie our entire, I want to call it a lie. We've been fed.
It's a point of view thing, I think.
Earth has been misrepresented to us, so we've been fed this misrepresentation of our own planet. It's not actually a sphere.
Why is that?
Because Earth is flat. Perfectly flat. Wait, you gotta know, let me just so you understand. But cosmically speaking, Earth is flat.
Roger, we copy.
A little chubbier.
Yeah. Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
Sci-fi fantasies.
So, it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level.
Sci-fi fantasies. Sorry, Neil. Try me. See if I think I have no opinion on your bullshit sci-fi fantasies.
What I noticed, the just total absence of the pictures of Earth from space, and I still couldn't see the forest for the trees.
And we've all seen those pictures, those gorgeous pictures of a somewhat round planet.
Planet Earth, my home, my place.
Because the awakening, the realization of flat Earth is a big internal wave.
Are you really somebody seeking the truth?
Flat Earth clues, which really delves into the possibility that our human civilization is inside its own Truman-type shell, like an enclosed system.
Roger, we copy.
Those people are not really in the mainstream.
They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed that the world was round.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. is flat.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it. Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
With this small spacecraft, we could, dare I say it, change the world!
Oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it.
Sci-fi fantasies.
Not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
And when we learn that, we'll know more about where we came from, how we all got here.
Sci-fi fantasies.
Ground control to Major Tom. Your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you...
So wait. Do you think they're helping the cause of the movement so that they can get out from under their lies?
Science? I don't understand.
Just my job 5 days a week.
NASA's approach to exploration is not Star Trek. It's not go where no man has gone before, as they say.
Yes, but as a known scientist, it didn't surprise me to delve down his knees.
To be high, you're measuring your distance from the center of the Earth. From the very center of the Earth. Is that different from the center?
I know.
Is that different from the center? Is that different from the center? Earth is flat.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
And that couldn't be more true. It's one thing to be told of the giant impenetrable dome, but it's a whole different animal when you finally stand right next to it. Then the tough decisions have to be made. Do we keep the secret? And how far are we willing to go to keep the status quo? Once they decided to keep the secret, no expense was spared. The rapid progression of rocketry science had to be addressed quickly, and so the moon missions were created. Matt from the NASA channel was right in his thinking that you needed the moon mission event to stage a picture of the Earth from deep orbit.
Humans, for the most part, don't have a clue. They don't want one or need one either. They're happy. They have to have a good bead on the
You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You felt it your entire splinter. That there's something wrong. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a splinter in your mind. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Okay, we've had a problem here.
Are you really looking for the answers no matter where they lead you? Or are you going to stay in your box, stay in your comfort zone? Just in case somebody might say, oh, well, you're a flat earther, aren't you? Me personally, I don't care what people say about me.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
You got that thing when the blue marble came out.
Yeah, when it first came out, it was, the White House sent a blurb out in a Twitter or whatever to everybody. You get this blue marble, and you look at it at first, it's an improvement over some of the other blue marbles. But then somebody brilliant out there decided, hey, I'm going to flip this thing upside down. And as soon as they did, the clouds are spelling sex.
Yep.
And you're like, come on.
When they put out the blue marble shot, they made a point of saying, oh yeah, by the way, this is the first blue marble shot we've done in 43 years. And
what other one?
Yeah, which helped the flat Earth cause, because everyone, on that side was saying, there are no pictures of the Earth from space. There's only one that they've ever said. And people are going, no, that's not true. And then the White House and, Neil deGrasse Tyson comments on it, said, oh yeah, this is the second This is the second shot from space in 43 years. I was going, and this doesn't bother anybody?
So wait. Do you think they're helping the cause or the movement so that they can get out from under their lies? Do you think, they're giving little clues and...
Well, because they're still saying this is the real deal.
Yeah.
They're saying that this is the ball Earth.
If we had any sort of moment that's akin to the Apollo 8 Earthrise picture, it will change the world.
And so when somebody asks me the same thing somebody asked you as far as what difference does it make, the difference is that we are living in a mental prison, first and foremost, created by people who are rich and powerful. And they're rich and powerful because they've put us all into this never-ending maze of go to work, pay your bills, pay your taxes, come home, watch TV, watch the news, keep up to date with what's going on in the world, and everyone is stuck in that rut. And then they're also told, here's the science, and if you believe this, you're smart. You are intelligent, you're an intellectual if you believe what's in these science books. So you got a bunch of people walking around thinking they're smart, telling others who start to think of the world the way it really is that they're stupid, and it creates a place that's just not somewhere anybody wants to live.
How much do you care what your friends and family think about you or say about you? What's more important, the way you're perceived by the world or the way you really are? And how are you really when it gets down to it? Are you really somebody seeking the truth? Or are you just putting up an image and only willing to get to a certain place?
Planet Earth, my home, my place.
But the exciting thing is that I think we will send humans in the near future to Mars.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I said something about how beautiful the space ships are, and he says, yeah, it's for show. And I said, what? He says, it's for show. I said, what are you talking about? And he says, there's no space. I said, what? He said, no, it's all for show. And he said, you cannot believe what you see. You can't always believe what you see.
You can't always believe what you see.
That's right. But he said, I'm getting out of it too, just as soon as I can. That's what he said. This is a bunch of hullabaloo, and I never heard that terminology in a long time.
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. This is Houston. Say again, please. Oh, Houston, we've had a problem.
This is a bunch of hullabaloo, and I never heard that terminology in a long time.
And they're recycling this photo, just changing up the clouds cover a little bit, and telling you that that's Earth.
And 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
And so this is actually humanity stepping forward and saying, you know what? The mind control doesn't work anymore. And not only does the mind control not work anymore, we don't care what your media says about us anymore. We don't care what your psychologists and psychiatrists try to say. all the facades are falling away now.
There's no sign of life, voices another sound.
I really don't care if people call me a flat earther.
Can you hear me now? This is planet Earth. You're looking at planet Earth.
But I do have to say that when you stack the evidence up, the globe really starts to disappear, and the globe just simply doesn't hold water. The globe just simply doesn't hold water.
My head is stuck on something precious. Let me know if you're coming down to land.
That's why Rob Skiba, he has done literally months and months and months of investigation into the flat earth. And he can't get out of the rabbit hole. Because once you start to uncover one layer of the onion, you realize it really goes so deep. It really goes so deep.
Theorists, I think you're batshit crazy with this new theory that everybody keeps coming out with the flat Earth theory. I'm sorry, but I can't believe that anybody would think that. You know, what makes you think that the Earth is flat? When I've been in aircrafts loads of times and looked down and I can see the curve. You know, I think this is like some sort of form of controlled opposition here. Tell a story and see how far that people will believe it. Shit, it's absolutely
That's funny. I had someone sending me some information about the Earth being flat too, in multiple messages on YouTube and Facebook.
No, I think there's a bit of a thing going on. It's suddenly, there's this whole idea of the flat Earth has flooded the alternative scene at the moment. I'm literally convinced it's intelligence services, shall we say, a sabotage weapon. So when they actually come to pointing us out, they can say things like, you know, we're pointing out something that's really serious. They can turn around and say, but look, these are all the same to us. They believe the Earth is flat.
And flat Earth, in my opinion, is a topic that takes serious research, and you have to disconnect yourself from everything you thought you knew and all of your religious beliefs and everything like that, and really approach this from a scientific perspective, but not a pseudo-scientific perspective, not a perspective of coming from textbook information, but coming from a place and a perspective that you're actually out there using tools of technology to really try to understand what is this world that we're actually living on. Is it a dome? Is it a big ball floating through space? Is it a hologram? See, many people would agree that it's a hologram. But then they can't take it a step further and say, well, you know what? If it's a hologram, it's probably not really three-dimensional like we believe it is. A hologram can look three-dimensional, but it's actually just a projection. So if this whole world is a hologram, the whole universe for that matter, that's what mainstream scientists are saying. Now, mainstream scientists say a lot of things that are not actually accurate, so you take that for what it's worth. But they're saying that it's a holographic universe, and they've actually found zeros and ones within the fabric of space-time itself. That tells me that we're living in a matrix. The matrix has to be housed somewhere. It's housed in the dome that is our world. And I've often likened the enclosed world theory to a video game. You can look outside of a window in a video game and stare into the vastness of the world that's outside. But if you can hack the video game and actually get behind the wall where the supposed window is, it's nothing but empty space. Because the programmers didn't program anything outside of those borders. All they programmed was what your avatar can perceive while playing through the well-constructed areas of the video game. Is our world actually the same? What's beyond the ice wall? Those are the questions that we're really trying to get to the bottom of. But in order to get to the bottom of those questions, we have to first do our own experimentation. We have to first investigate for ourselves. We have to use our own eyes and our own ears. Now, I know that's so scary to everybody out there. No, don't make me use my own eyes and my own ears. I want to trust what these people have written in a book and have told me is true, because I don't want to actually believe my own senses. See, when you phrase it like that, do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
They say that the world is round, but I am standing on solid ground, and they say that the sun don't rise, but early in the morning, I can't believe my eyes. They say that a man walked on the moon. I bet it's the same people that say humans evolved from baboons. My eyes are consuming fire. The devil is a liar. I can hear them singing holy, holy in that angelic choir. You see the earth is flat, but never been to the moon. The man didn't evolve from a baboon. Picture rain, nothing more than a beautiful cartoon. Y'all coming back soon and very soon. They say that the world is round, but I am standing on solid ground.
NASA, General Charles Bolden, head of NASA, has to say about NASA
All right,
and politics.
it's a worldwide thing.
NASA.
Oh, no,
Boy, this agency sucks. NASA.
We do suck in some terms.
Page one story.
Sucks. Well, we do suck in some terms.
Christoph, why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
It's okay if they give us a picture of Pluto that was supposedly taken with this high-powered satellite that was passing by that just happens to have the silhouette of a dog Pluto from the Disney, from Walt Disney, from the Disney cartoon Pluto. I don't even have the words to describe the fraud that is taking place here. Like, who is that stupid to believe that the planet Pluto actually just coincidentally has a landmass on it that looks identical to the Walt Disney character Pluto?
Come on, Pluto. Pluto? Pluto!
Pluto.
My dog, Pluto.
A lot of these images that you get and a lot of these pictures are nothing more than that. They're just pictures, they're CGI, they're computer graphics, and you know, I can understand why in the 70s or 80s this might have been something that was hard for people to understand, but in today's world, we all have computers with pretty impressive graphic capabilities on our desks at home, and you can actually just play with a paint program and get pretty similar results to what NASA shows you. Same thing with the Pluto pictures that just recently came back. Same thing with these pictures of Mars. These things are meant to give you a fantasy world and take you away from where you actually live and what's actually important, which is right here. You know, we don't need another place to go. We don't need a place to inhabit like Mars. We should worry about all the issues and the problems that are here. And then once we've mastered this, well, then go ahead and look out there if you want. But I think we're jumping the gun a little bit by talking about inhabiting Mars.
Why is it that right after the Antarctic Treaty was signed, nobody was allowed to go to Antarctica after that? And then they actually did a high-altitude nuclear test called Operation Fishbowl once they realized where the dome actually was.
Planet Earth, my home, my place.
And from there, it's just been, like you said, down the rabbit hole. I think it helps explain almost everything. It just made everything clear, made me feel more free, made us feel more free, gave us a better connection with the infinite. And I think that it really just started with opening our minds and really no longer taking, like you said, into account what other people think, which is the least important thing that there is. And if you were going to fool somebody, probably a good thing to do would be to get a bunch of people with you to laugh at that person if they thought a certain way. And that's exactly what's happened in today's world. Is there's certain topics that if you bring up, you will be laughed at and be told you're an idiot. If you think that the moon landing was a hoax, if you think that 9/11 was your government, if you think the earth is flat, you're an idiot. So if you start looking a little deeper into why is it that there's certain topics you can't talk about, you might be surprised at the end of that tunnel.
Right. And it makes you wonder, what is the purpose of this cover-up? Go ahead, Truth.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, there's sacred cows that you just do not touch. And if you do, then you're forever known as a kook or a crazy person.
It completely destroys everything that everyone knows. It's just a fantastical, mythological idea that we've all been taught is true. And I understand it breaks down. It takes a while to accept it and to really break it down, and it'll never be something that you can just tell somebody and they'll go, oh yeah, that makes sense now. They're going to cuss at you and they're going to tell you you're wrong, but just putting that seed in their mind, I think, is the key. Over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, people will start to see the world differently, and it will start to register with them that, uh-oh, there's a chance that there's a reason why there's a globe in every kindergarten classroom.
You know what I found odd, though, is during this enlightening or awakening and realizing that the Earth is most likely flat. But I think the enclosed theory makes a lot more sense than anything else. But when I first started to talk about this, most of our listeners wrote very, very positive emails. Everybody was on board going, you know what, I've been looking into this, I've been feeling this, there has been this great awakening, and it seemed to have started, at least for me and the people around me, around January or February of this year. As a child, not having any brainwashing whatsoever, I couldn't make any sense of it.
The only thing that didn't make sense to me as a kid, and I can still remember this to this day, I never understood the spinning. And I would question it in, second grade and get told I was confused or I didn't understand the way it worked. And I would stare at the moon or stare at the sun and just say, I don't understand what they mean by we are spinning. It didn't make any sense. Still to this day doesn't make any sense.
There is one bit of spinning footage from NASA, a 12-hour time lapse, but it doesn't show the clouds moving, which is very odd because clouds don't stay still for 12 hours. So we haven't got any footage of the Earth spinning, even though there's the Hubble telescope, we're told, a space station and 20 to 30,000 satellites. Very strange. And no one can feel the spin. You can feel earthquakes pretty well. You can't feel the Earth spinning.
There is not life on the one hand and you on the other. It's all the same. But you see, you can't tell people that. And just by telling, get them to see it. Just in exactly this way, the people who know that the Earth is flat can't be reasoned with. People who believe that the Bible is the literal word of God, absolutely impossible to reason with them at all, because they know it is so. So in the same way, we tend to know that we are all separate poor little me's, and that we are in need of salvation or something. And we know this so, and so somebody says, well, you are not really that. You know that that feeling of separateness is an illusion. Well, it's all very nice in theory, but I don't feel it. So what will you do? What will you do with a person who is convinced that the Earth is flat? No way of reasoning with him. If it's for some reason important that he discovers that the Earth is round, you've got to play a game with him. You've got to play a trick on him. You tell him, great, the Earth is flat. Let's go and look over the edge.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.
That was definitely an e-ticket.
Earth. NASA says we go into space, which was basically a hoax. I have some unorthodox thoughts. Earth is flat.
500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat.
Sorry, Neil. Try me. See if I think I have no opinion on your bullshit sci-fi fantasies.
I have some unorthodox thoughts.
Sci-fi fantasies.
Actually, a sphere. It's why is that? Because Earth is flat. Perfectly flat. Wait, you gotta know, let me just so you understand. But cosmically speaking, Earth is flat.
Roger, we copy.
A little chubbier. Yeah. Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
Just sci-fi fantasies.
So, it turns out the pear-shapedness is bigger than the height of Mount Everest above sea level.
Sci-fi fantasies. Sorry, Neil. Try me. See if I think I have no opinion on your bullshit sci-fi fantasies.
When I noticed, the just total absence of the pictures of Earth from space, and I still couldn't see the forest for the trees.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
Those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses.
And I'm astonished. I wonder, what country am I living in? It's not the one I grew up in. Am I living in? It's not the one I grew up in.
Am I living in? It's not the one I grew up in.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
Nothing more. The pole, Earth rotates, and the pole bobs up and down over tens of thousands of years, and we oscillate like this, the way a top does. Top does.
Sci-fi fantasies.
Top does.
Sci-fi fantasies.
We're pleased to announce the discovery of Kepler 452b,
which was basically a hoax. Typically illiterate people of the world.
Sci-fi fantasies.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain. You feel it.
All the things that I used to believe, I can't even believe I believe them anymore. All the things that I used to believe, I can't even believe I believe them anymore.
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
It's like I just stopped believing in Santa Claus recently.
Are you really somebody seeking the truth?
We've been fed a lie our entire, I want to call it a lie. We've been fed.
It's a point of view thing, I think.
Earth has been misrepresented to us, so we've been fed this misrepresentation of our own planet. It's not accurate.
And we've all seen those pictures, those gorgeous pictures of a somewhat round planet.
Planet Earth, my home, my place.
Because the awakening, the realization of flat Earth is a big internal wave.
Are you really somebody seeking the truth?
Flat Earth Clues, which really delves into the possibility that our human civilization is inside its own Truman-type show, like an enclosed system.
Roger, we copy.
Those people are not really in the mainstream.
They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed that the world was round.